Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and for the first time in 2023, NASCAR is back, and we are racing at the LA Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, sunny California. And today we have the LCQ, the heat races on this live stream, and then our main event later on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the 150-lap big show. You know, the one that pays the big bucks, the one that more people and more eyes on the sport will be had. Can't wait for this one. 25 laps in each of the 4 heat races today. Then we'll have 2 50-lap LCQs. So a lot of racing in this first live stream of the evening. And then again, we will have a break. This live stream will end, and we will do another live stream later tonight. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our first live commentary live stream of the 2023 NASCAR season. And getting ready for this one, obviously Justin Haley qualified on the pole yesterday, so he will be starting first in heat race number 1 today. He'll lead the field of the green. We do not have our leaderboard up quite yet, although it is available for us. 65 degrees is the temperature. Winds at 5 to 9 miles per hour, not going to really affect the racing at all. They're sunny, so it's going to be a pretty slick track, especially for the heat races. And then when we get into the nighttime sky for the main event a little bit later, tracks might gain a little bit more grip. The starting lineup for this first heat will look like this. Justin Haley again on the pole. Eric Almirola will start outside of the front row in second. Alex Bowman and Harrison Burton will be in row 2. Joey Logano, Noah Gragson in row 3. Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher in row 4. Ty Dillon will be the 9th and final driver in this first race. There are 36 entries for this weekend's race, and only 27 will make it to the main event. The top 5 in each heat, plus the top 3 in both LCQs, will advance to the big show. Wade Selinsky, Patrick Shatterley, Ethan, Patty and Rumdy Creations, Liz, Kenneth Clark, Billy Kramer, Rick, Philip Moore, Dark Crypto, and others, welcome into the stream. Welcome many of you back from last year's live commentary streams as well. I've missed you guys, obviously, dearly, as we have not done a live commentary stream since Martinsville Cup race when Ross Chastain pulled off the video game move on the final lap. I was at Phoenix for the championship weekend last year, so we are back and better than ever. We did do live commentary for this race last year. Can't wait to do it again this year, as we are in year 2 of our live commentary live streams right here on the channel. And also for those of you that are returning to the channel as well that don't know yet, I will be doing live commentary for Xfinity and Truck Series races this season, all season long, as well as the Cup Series. Last year we didn't do trucks at Xfinity. My work schedule is a little different. It is going to change here in the coming weeks. I'll have Saturdays off, and I'll be able to get you guys some commentary for the Friday night and Saturday afternoon shows as well. Cars are on the racetrack right now, taking their warm-up laps for this first heat. Can't wait to see how this one is going to go down. Again, 9 drivers in this first heat race. Only 5 of them, though, will advance. Cars are coming out of the tunnel right now, the same tunnel that the football players will be coming out of during UFC college football games. Ija, thanks for tuning in. The formerly known as Asaizi. Nazim. Derek Puth, also welcome into the stream, guys. Our goal is going to be 100 likes for this first stream of the day, and then the main event later tonight we'll try to go for 200. Even though I think that stream is going to be a little bit shorter, I just think with it being the main show, we might have more viewers for that one. The race is on the big Fox network, the regular Fox network, for those of you wondering. And just a reminder that I will not be able to show any of the actual footage of today's race, but we will have the live commentary, and anytime there will be an interview from any drivers between heat races especially, we'll probably get a lot more driver interviews in today's race versus what we would have in most points races I'll be doing live commentaries for this year. So you'll get to listen to your favorite drivers post-race of all these heat races, the LCQs, and again, we will take that break in between the final LCQ race and the main event later tonight. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in also. I plan on going to the duels in Daytona. Yep. I'll be at Daytona for all of Speed Weeks pretty much. Except for Wednesday. I won't be there at all for like any on-track activity then. But Thursday through Sunday I do plan on being there. And potentially Monday if they do have to get rained out. I am prepared. Remember that the defending champion is an automatic lock, so no matter what, Joey Logano is the only driver who is locked into the main event later tonight, no matter what happens in the heat races and the LCQ to start the show and to start the NASCAR season today. Repping my Ryan Blaney gear, as you guys will see all season long for our Cup Series races. He's going to be starting deep in the field. He was unable to make a qualifying lap yesterday. Both him and Ty Gibbs were the only two drivers that failed. Gibbs had a fire under, or I should say, in the cockpit of his race car during his practice session. He was really fast in practice leading up to that point. There were no backup cars for any teams this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how that car will be today, as well as Chase Briscoe after getting into the wall after contact with AJ Allmendinger in yesterday's on-track activity as well. There's contact for a few corners in a row. Allmendinger sent Briscoe into the outside wall. Nose damage to the right front of the 14. So Justin Haley going to elect the inside line for the start of this race. So again, Haley will be on the inside. Trying to make sure our raw feed is going to be available here. Still shows them on the warm-up lap for right now. This is all we've got for right now. So our leaderboard will update on the channel here eventually, I would have to imagine. Yeah, I saw Aaron Rodgers won the Celebrity Pro-Am. Pebble Beach. 1 to go signal, I believe, this time by. Yep, there it is. 1 to go signal, so they will be going green this time. Caution laps do not count for the LCQ or the heat race. I don't know if the caution laps count in the main event or not later today, but I do know for a fact that they do not count in the heats and the LCQ. Let's get this 2023 season kicked off with a bang. Field is just going into turns 3 and 4 at the LA Memorial Coliseum. We are about to go green and start the 2023 NASCAR season. Justin Haley will lead the field into the get-go restart zone, and we're underway. And LA green flag as they roll into turns 1 and 2. Almirola gets a good launch initially at the start-finish line, cannot clear the 31. The 42 of Gregson moves down to the bottom. Logano just completely doors the 42 of Gregson and nearly spins him out. That's going to cost both cars about 2 or 3 positions on the inside lane, while meanwhile Haley and Almirola still side by side for the lead at the front of the field. 21 power sliding off of turn 2, now getting back down to the bottom lane before getting a shot and a pinball machine is that 42 of Noah Gragson, both getting hit from behind and trying to make the moves, and now he dumps the 21 of Harrison Burton. He'll go around, cautions out, and Noah Gragson has turned the sophomore driver Harrison Burton around in turns 3 and 4 on the second lap of our first heat race today. Aggression early on. Gregson just drove right through the 21 car. Got a piece of the front of his race car as well. Once he did whip all the way around, everybody else was able to miss to either the inside behind the 42 or the outside. No severe damage on any race car there. A lot of aggressive drivers in this first race, though, based off of just prior history in any of the top 3 series in NASCAR. Gregson being a rookie in the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club. Rename after Jimmy Johnson has now taken part ownership of that race team, and there is, I guess, quite a bit of damage on the front of the 21 car. I don't think it's going to affect him too much, though, considering this is not a fast racetrack. It's very flat. There's really no aerodynamic major advantage or disadvantage if a car were to have severe damage to their race cars. And you can see the damage to the right front fender of the 42 for those of you watching on Fox as well. Dale Campbell, thanks for tuning in. From the opening lap, turn 1, when Joey Logano about sent the 42, pushed him 3 wide into that first turn. it was pretty much on from there, and there was just constant carnage in every single corner until eventually Harrison Burton went around. Then the leaders got to the start-finish line at the time of the caution, so they're actually on lap 3 right now. And Justin Haley was scored the leader at the time of the caution by less than a car length over Eric Almirola. Alex Bowman, who missed the main event of this Busch Light Clash last season in the inaugural event, is in 3rd place right now, trying to punch his ticket to his first ever main event at this racetrack. Because this is just a quarter-mile racetrack, they're not actually going to give the field a 1-to-go signal until after they get to the choose cone. So once they get to the choose cone, that means there's 2 laps to go until the next restart. So the field could get lined up. It might be a little easier to line them up in the heat race, but when we get to the main event, we have 27 cars on the track at once. It'll be a little more difficult to get everybody organized, so they're going to give them an extra lap for each of the races throughout today's action. And again, I apologize for our leaderboard not really working. I don't know what's going on with this. This is on NASCAR's website. I've been using this for the live commentary streams all along. It's showing the lap counter, but it's not actually showing the cars on racetrack right now, so that's unfortunate. It is slightly ahead of what you will be listening from myself today, but hopefully it'll get working here at some point in time throughout today's racing. Pace car's already on the infield. Green flag is back in the air. Haley again elects the inside lane. He wasn't able to clear the car on the top, and actually Almirola goes to the bottom behind Alex Bowman. Bowman gets a shot from the 31, who in return got a shot from the 10 of Almirola down into turns 3 and 4. It almost looked like the 48 might have crowded the 31 more so than the 31 moved up, but needless to say, Justin Haley's going to be clear off turn 2 on lap 4 of this first heat. Almirola on the inside of the 48 of Bowman. Bowman trying to get to the bottom as soon as he can to create himself from not losing too many positions here and falling out of a potential slot that will get him into the main event later tonight. A lot of beating and banging in this first heat. I'm sure we will see that all day. 48 really rolling over quite a bit on the right front tire down into turns 3 and 4. You can see the car hopping around quite a bit as Almirola clears him. And the 42 of Noah Gragson as well will clear him on the back straight with 20 to go. Finally gets down to the bottom in 4th. Again, Logano already a lock in that 22 car because of being the defending champion of the series, not necessarily this race. Bowman putting a lot of pressure back on Noah Gragson to try and get a pass for that 3rd place position. He's really rounding the corners off a lot more than the 42, who's having himself a little bit sharper of an arc on corner entry, allowing himself to maybe not get back to the gas as quickly as the 48, who's taking a wider entry and really getting a lower exit, trying to minimize the amount of time on the following straightaway. That allows Bowman to get to the inside of the 42. I think that a lot of that is maybe the inexperience from Gragson. He gets passed by Bowman and then quickly got a shot from behind off the exit of turn 4 from Joey Logano. He's really trying to get going. Logano qualified well, which definitely helped him in the Clash last year and eventually went on to win the race. Started 5th and remains in 5th in this heat race, and he has been bumping in the back of the 42 this whole race nearly. Almirola putting a lot more pressure on Justin Haley once again. Actually, I have money on Haley and Kyle Busch to win today. My actual pick, as of right now, is Kyle Busch. I can change it up to the start of the main event if I really want to for consistency's sake, but I was debating on either Haley or Busch. Both had great cars last year. Haley didn't make it to the finish after getting wrecked by Larson in the main event. $11 laps to go in the heat right now. It looks like the 48 of Alex Bowman quickly closing in on the 10 of the 31. I definitely believe Almirola might be a bit quicker than the 31. Another note is that the Fords were really fast on the flatter, shorter tracks last season. Hence Joey Logano's championship win and even a 1-2 finish for Penske at Phoenix. Briscoe won the first Phoenix race as well. Gateway was won by Joey Logano. A lot of the flatter tracks, it seemed like that seemed to be the strong suit for the Fords, so that may come in handy. Again, Logano won the Clash last year also. So it'll be interesting to see how the 10 of Almirola is going to race these closing laps. These guys in the top 3 are already locked in. But every position in this heat race that you can finish forward is an extra 4 positions in the starting spot because of how there are 4 different heat races. So first and second, for instance, in this first heat, will start first and 5th in the main event later tonight. Almirola finally gets to the inside of Justin Haley, not going to be able to get there. 48 of Alex Bowman making a move now to the inside of the 31 as Almirola is clear for the lead. 19 laps led in this first heat so far for Haley. 5 laps to go in heat race number 1. Bowman is up to second, though. Haley back to third. Michael McDowell trying to put pressure on Joey Logano for the final transfer spot into the main event. And 4 laps to go right now on my screen. Two laps to go as of right now as the field crosses the start-finish line. Tight battle right now between the 42, 22, and 34. 2 of those drivers will get in. Maybe all 3 if Logano gets bumped backwards a spot. Final lap right now for Eric Almirola. He's got about a car length and a half to 2 car length lead on Bowman into 3 and 4. Checker flag in the air for the first heat. Eric Almirola will win heat race number 1 at the LA Coliseum. Alex Bowman second. Justin Haley third. Noah Gragson fourth. And Joey Logano will round out the top 5. And those will be the 5 drivers that will advance into the main event later tonight. They will start 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th in the main event. What supercars do I like? I don't really know much about supercars, honestly. Probably get an interview from heat winner Eric Almirola. So again, Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, Justin Haley, Noah Gragson, Joey Logano finish 1st through 5th. So Eric Almirola will be on the pole, for the main event later tonight. He started 2nd in this heat. But gets the victory. First heat had 1 yellow back on lap 3. And again, the caution laps do not count. Commercial break before heading in to heat race number 2. Trishan Games, Stacy, thanks for tuning in. That was boring. I mean, it's going to be quick. It's only 25 laps, so it's kind of hard for... I mean, it's kind of the point of the heat races, though, at the same time, too, or heat racing in any motorsport. I thought it was a good heat race. A little over-aggressive, maybe, in the first couple laps, but you can definitely tell there's a sense of urgency, especially for the guys starting mid and back in the pack and trying to get into the main event as soon as they can. Be interested to see how the other 3 heat races are going to go down. One thing that's been very difficult with the next-gen car through all the flatter racetracks last year was the ability to pass. We saw it on road courses, too. It seemed like once you got a few laps after the restart, very difficult to pass. But because of the close confines at the LA Coliseum quarter-mile short track, it allows for drivers to maybe get a little bit of a better chance of being able to pass on longer runs with the ability to really be able to get to somebody's bumper. And we were able to see passing all the way throughout that 25-lap heat race as a result. I think it should be more laps. I think the only reason they went with 25 is because of the fact that if you count the laps in the heat race, the laps in both LCQs, it equates to 200 laps. And I think the main event tonight is only 150. So, I mean, we're already going to see more racing and more laps. I do think that they should make the main event longer. Then, and hence, they could maybe end up making... And I also... If they had more cars in the heat race, I think they can make the heat race longer too. But with only having 9 cars in each heat, there really isn't a sense for them to put 40 in. Because honestly, where it was right there, if it stayed green for the next, 15 laps, if they had 15 more laps, I don't know that anybody would have made any passes for position anyway. So Kyle Busch will kick off this second heat. He'll be on the inside of the front row with his teammate Austin Dillon on the outside. You got Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick in row 2. Waiting for Fox to expand the camera here. We're going to get the green flag before I can get through the entire starting lineup. I'm surprised I didn't show it all at once. Standing start there for Kyle Busch, kind of bottlenecking everybody up before they got to the start-finish line once they got into the Geico restart zone as the green flag is in the air for the second heat. A little contact between the RCR teammates. Busch nearly goes around into turns 3 and 4 after about getting hooked off the 3 of Dillon. Busch will lead the opening lap as he is clear. Larson into second now, passing Dillon. Stenhouse using him up, trying to get the third. Truex and Harvick. So Harvick gets shuffled way back after starting 4. 3 wide between Cindric, Harvick, and Elliott down in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 rather. Elliott nearly in the wall, had to lift to let the 4 and the 2 by. Dillon still going backwards after starting second, is now back to the final transfer spot in 5th. Stenhouse gets a bump from the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Still leaning on each other on the front straightaways and are 1 and 2. Truex on the bottom, Stenhouse on the outside. Dillon keeping close with them as they continue to trade paint. The Bass Pro Shops for the Velveeta Chevrolet of Stenhouse. Bass Pro Shops Toyota, I should say. Truex is clear for that position, so that moves him up to 3rd. Stenhouse getting pressure again from the 3. Kyle Busch has led the first 5 laps of the heat. Kyle Larson in second, about 3 car lengths behind him right now. Austin Dillon will make a pass on Ricky Stenhouse to move back into the 4th place position. Austin Cindric very close behind the 5th place car of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into turns 1 and 2. I think Cindric missed the main show last year, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong on that. There's a big bump by Austin Dillon to get to the inside of Stenhouse initially and then eventually passing him in the next corner without any contact. Stenhouse wanted to make sure he probably got to the bottom as quickly as he could. A little contact between Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick a little further back. Harvick trying to get back by the 9. That's a battle for 7th place. Could you imagine if Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick have to race their way in through the LCQ and that there is a chance that both of those guys could potentially miss the main event later tonight? I believe everybody from Heat 1 and Heat 3 will be in one LCQ, and then Heats 2 and 4 will be in the second LCQ. I could be wrong on that. If that's not it, then it's Heat 1, Heat 2, and then Heat 3, Heat 4 in a separate race. Seth Thomas, thanks for tuning in also. Again, I apologize for no leaderboard for whatever reason. I've been constantly refreshing our leaderboard as much as I possibly can, and I'm not really getting anything. Kyle Busch slowly pulling away from Larson out to about a 7 to 8 tenths of a second lead. Truex is reeling in the 5 just a little bit as well. Guess we can keep this leaderboard on for a little bit. That might help us. It's the best I have for a leaderboard right now. It's not even showing all the laps. Oh, no, it is, yeah. This is the best leaderboard I have for right now, unfortunately. Better than nothing, though. Truex has gotten by Kyle Larson for second, trying to catch up to his former teammate Kyle Busch, who was in his first race of first season at RCR. Truex did not win a race at all last season, both points and non-points race. Looked like Larson just kind of took it easy, let the 19 go by. Truex accidentally got into him on the back straightaway because he probably wasn't expecting the 5 to check up, but Larson, being the veteran he is, trying to take care of his car. He knows third place, still not a bad finish. It would lock him into the main event. And he's not really in major pressure of getting booted out from anybody behind him. Martin Truex Jr. catching the 8 of Kyle Busch, putting pressure. Contact off turn 2 as we have 8 laps to go in heat 2. Truex down to the bottom. Crossover by Kyle Busch to get back to the inside. What a move by the 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Busch as he battles back on the 19. Side by side for the lead still into 3 and 4 as they come to 6 to go. Truex with the same crossover move. Busch pulled, and now Truex is back on the inside. Kyle Busch up high, Martin Truex Jr. down low. The side-by-side battle and back-and-forth battles allowing Kyle Larson to close back in again. He's 0.7 of a second off the lead. The 8 gets into the back of the left rear corner panel of the 19 to Truex. Truex locks the tires up now into 1 and 2 and allows the 8 to get closer as we have a caution out on the racetrack. Austin Cindric has spun in turns 3 and 4. Cindric has spun. That will bring out a caution with 5 laps to go in heat race number 2. So Truex was in the lead at the time of the caution. Kyle Busch second, Kyle Larson third, Austin Dillon fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse is fifth. Cindric got to the inside of Kevin Harvick, got pinched down. There was a lap car on the outside of BJ McLeod, which made it 3 wide. And then Kevin Harvick just sent the 2. It turns 3 and 4 and turned him right around maybe the next lap or 2. So Kevin Harvick looked to have retaliated on Cindric after contact from a couple corners before. So again, we will have 5 laps left on the restart. Caution laps do not count in the heats. Here's Eric Almirola with Jamie Little.
The poll for the feature, what made the difference today?
A year of learning. Yeah, we came to this race a year ago and really had no idea what to expect. And the setup in the car, you know, a year later is so much different. Me having way more knowledge about the car and just a better understanding and, you know, being more prepared. You know, there was no way to be prepared a year ago. So, yeah, great start. Smithfield Ford Mustang is really fast, and it was really, really disappointing to watch this race from the grandstands last year. So this year we get to lead the field to the green. So great starting spot. Obviously, track position is important. So it should be a fun night.
Well done. Mike?
On the choose, Kyle Busch chose the inside as Elman.
So there you go. Martin Truex Jr. will elect the inside lane, as we've seen from pretty much every driver on a restart or start in today's racing. Kyle Larson will go high, and Kyle Busch, who was initially in second, will actually be on the inside of row 2. Kevin Harvick isn't even going to line up on the outside of row 4. He's going to line up on the bottom right behind the 9 of Chase Elliott. Ready to go to work here as he pushes the 9. Green flag back in the air. Good launch by Truex. Kyle Busch to the inside of Kyle Larson trying to get by, and the 2 goes around again, and that's going to bring out likely another caution. Nope, we stay green. Still green. No caution flag for Austin Cindric's spin. First corner after the restart. Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson are side by side for third. Busch was able to get to second, and Truex continues to lead. Dillon has cleared the 5 of Larson for third. Larson now back to fourth after restarting second, or at least outside of the front row. Kind of a sitting duck if you're on that outside lane on the start. Very difficult to hold on. Chase Elliott putting a battle up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for the final transfer spot. Kevin Harvick close behind as well. They'll be coming to the final lap of the stage. Stenhouse locks the tires up going into 3 and 4. A bump from behind by the 9 of Elliott. Elliott looks to the inside. Final lap 1 and 2. Elliott leans on the 47. The 4 of Harvick just pushed the 9 right by the 47 with that bump. Stenhouse has one more chance to get back to Elliott. He knocks him up the racetrack, but can't get around him. And Kevin Harvick is going to get the final transfer spot over Elliott by inches after Stenhouse sent the 9 up the racetrack, sent himself up the racetrack, and Harvick gets by both cars in the final corner of the final lap to move his way into the main event. Unbelievable. That was a very climactic finish to stage, or at least heat race number 2. Harvick first gave a large push to Elliott, which allowed him to clear the 47. And then Stenhouse completely tried to send the 9 of Elliott up the racetrack. Went Elliott so far that he had to lift out of the throttle to keep it off the wall. And Kevin Harvick by inches was able to beat the 9 to the start-finish line. And Stenhouse almost wrecked himself trying to get to Chase Elliott, that he ended up finishing in 8th place behind the 9. Unbelievable. We're already seeing tempers. Harvick was just in the right place at the right time. He could thank Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for that. I was about to say that Chase Elliott could thank Harvick for getting in, but then Stenhouse costing both himself and Elliott a shot there. Leave it to Ricky Stenhouse to do what Ricky Stenhouse does. He went in so hard into the corner, he tried to use Elliott as his brakes, and it still wasn't enough to keep him from wrecking. So Martin Truex Jr. wins heat race number 2. Kyle Busch 2nd. Austin Dillon 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th. And then that show for that final transfer spot will go to Kevin Harvick in 5th. Chase Elliott will have to race his way in through the LCQ, which means he's going to be starting very deep in the main event if he does make it. Just proving that qualifying mattered so much last night on setting the starting lineup for both the heats and then eventually the main event later on today, which make the chances of winning the main event a lot harder for those that are starting deep in the field. It's already a difficult racetrack to pass on with the tight confines. It only makes it a little bit harder. Yeah, thanks for that, Stacy. Again, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you are new. We have 27 likes on the stream so far. Our goal is 100 for this first stream of the day. We are 2 heat races in. We still have 2 more heat races and 2 LCQs to go through in this live stream. Then we'll be back later tonight for the main event. Starting lineup in heat race number 3 will look like this. You got Christopher Bell on the pole. His teammate Denny Hamlin will be on the outside of the front row in 2nd. Daniel Suarez 3rd. Chase Briscoe 4th in row 2. Tyler Reddick and Brad Keselowski in row 3. Again, Reddick making his first start for 23-11 today in the 45 car. Todd Gilliland, J.J. Yaley in row 4. Ryan Blaney bringing up the rear of the field in row number 9 after not being able to make a qualifying lap yesterday. I'll be rooting for Blaney to get in. Stenhouse and Elliott are arguing on pit road right now, and I'm sure Chase Elliott is justifiably upset. If you get any interviews from any drivers going forward, again, you guys will get to listen in. Just as you did with Eric Almirola, who they interviewed middle of this second heat race after he won heat number 1. Here's Regan Smith with Chase Elliott.
Heat race, what do you expect here in a little bit in the last chance race?
Yeah, it's definitely full contact, which, I mean, it's all good. I guess that's what we're here for. So, yeah, obviously ended up on the short end of, just barely missing it right there. But, yeah, hopefully get a good start here in this last chance race and have it go green. That would be great, I feel like. But, yeah, we'll see. We definitely have some damage from that. So I don't know how that's going to affect things or not, but we'll give it our best go and see what happens. But, yeah, man, it got wild, so I hope everybody enjoyed watching.
It was fun to watch. Thanks, Chase.
Quite a bit of damage on that right front fender of Chase Elliott as well. And here is Jamie Little with Ricky Stenhouse.
Live, take me through those emotions of racing this way, knowing you could miss the feature later.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's part of heat racing and a small track and not having the full field out there. Last year, the heat race went way better for us. I think we finished third. That one was good. Didn't need the caution there at the end. I think the 4 knew he needed a caution maybe, and got a caution and ended up making it in. Chasing out battled hard there. I tried to get to his bumper and try and get him up out of the way so I could turn and drive underneath, but I locked my left front up, and at that point I couldn't turn, and then I made it where he couldn't turn, and bummer, I got one of our Chevys out of it there, but we'll go battle in the last chance race. I felt really good about our car. Just on those restarts, it's people coming off the top rope. It's kind of crazy in here, so a lot of nerve-wracking, but we'll see if we can put it in.
Thanks, Ricky. Mike?
People coming off.
So again, we are getting ready to go green in heat race number 3 any moment. I'm sure you'll hear an interview from Martin Truex Jr. as well. Again, it'll be Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin in row 1. Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe, row 2. Remember, Briscoe's got some damage from practice yesterday that they tried to repair as best as they could. No backup cars for any teams this weekend. Be interesting to see how that will work for Briscoe in this heat. It doesn't help he's starting on the outside lane. Here's Larry McReynolds sitting with Adam Stevens.
On the front row, but it looks like everybody is driving very aggressive.
Yeah, everybody wants to get in this show. We got 1 rep under our belt after last year, and you can see the intensity's really wicked up. But I like what I saw out of that 19. I feel like our setup's pretty close, and hopefully we can have a similar race.
Well, Mike, I know it's twice the length of this track. Last time we were in a short track, Martinsville, this man went to victory lane.
That's
Interstate Batteries paint scheme for Christopher Bell here today at the LA Coliseum. Honestly, Martin Truex Jr. has looked the quickest of any driver so far through the first 2 heat races, but we still have to get another look at 2 more heats before we see at least every car on the track for today's activity. I believe they'll be getting the 1 to go signal this time by. Bell again on the inside. We've seen a lot of aggression in these first 2 heat races. Heat race number 1 more aggressive off the start, and heat race number 2 probably more aggressive at the end of the race. So here we go. Field about to get into turns 3 and 4 to get the green flag in this 3rd heat. Bell actually electing the outside lane for the start here, not the inside. Green flag is going to be back in the air. It looks like the 11 is going to... No, he won't let him in on the inside as they bottleneck 3 wide into turn 1. Suarez is going to be on the outside lane with nowhere to go. The 6 gets into the back of him, opening the door up for Ryan Blaney. And Daniel Suarez, who started 3rd, is back to 6th. And Blaney, who started 9th, is all the way up to 5th. Suarez getting pushed by the 6 and loses the 12 a little bit now. 14 of Chase Briscoe trying to get by Tyler Reddick in the 45. As the opening laps have been led by Bell, even after the contact with Denny Hamlin as they continue to run 1-2. Hamlin looking to the inside of the 20, not going to be able to get there. He'll stay off of him in turns 3 and 4, but will stay close behind. Hamlin charging the corner entry a lot harder than Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick starting to slowly close in on the 20 and the 11 right now. We continue to stay green. We got 25 laps in each heat race today. We are 4 laps in right now. Ryan Blaney all over the back of the 14 car. He is currently in the final transfer spot. Christopher Bell remains right in front of Denny Hamlin at the start-finish line, lap 7. The top 5 all under one giant blanket, and Christopher Bell will now be on the outside lane as Denny Hamlin will get to the bottom underneath him. The Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas are side-by-side for the lead. Hamlin will lead his first lap of the heat, and he is out in front now at the LA Coliseum in Heat 3. Tyler Reddick almost gets to the inside of the 11, but he does get by the 20 of Christopher Bell, and Bell is just stuck on the outside right now and is going straight backwards after starting on the pole. The odds-on favorite to win this race, according to Vegas, at 7.5 to 1 odds coming in, and he is free-falling in a hurry. Briscoe to the inside of Bell for third. Blaney is right there. He's not going to allow Bell to get to the inside. He'll get to the inside of Bell instead for fourth. There's going to be a hole for Bell to get to the bottom behind the 12 of Ryan Blaney if he does so quickly. And that's exactly what he does not try that right away. And now he'll get down to the bottom. There's a pretty big gap right now, about 3 or 4 car lengths between the 5th place car of Bell and the 6th place car of Todd Gillen, who just got by both Keselowski and Suarez in the last couple laps. Daniel Suarez, Brad Keselowski battling right now for 7th. Suarez will get by the 6th. Keselowski missed the main event in the Clash last year, and he is not off to a good start in this year's race. And Daniel Suarez, who started in 3rd, to free fall that quickly. If you think about it, though, the first 2 cars, 1st and 3rd place on the initial start, are already back in 5th and 7th. The top 4 are really starting to pull away from Bell, who was very quick in practice yesterday. Won the most recent flat track last season at Martinsville, maybe the track, or at least that is most similar to this racetrack on the actual NASCAR points paying schedule. Side by side for position now between Keselowski and Suarez, and Keselowski will swap that spot up to 7th again. Suarez trying to cross him over, gets into him, moves him up out of the way. We have 11 laps to go in Heat 3 already. Keselowski gets back into the 99 as they continue to trade paint corner after corner here. Suarez is going to lose a little bit too much ground to the 6, and he's not going to be able to get back to his bumper this time. Keselowski does not have enough time. He's 4 seconds behind Gillen in 6, and Gillen's about a second, maybe 1.1 to 1.2 seconds behind Christopher Bell in 5th place. Denny Hamlin in the 11 has opened up a gap over Tyler Reddick by 0.6 of a second. So we're down to 8 laps to go in Heat 3. Laps winding down quickly in Heat 3. Top 5 advance. Currently it is Hamlin, Reddick, Briscoe, Blaney, and Bell in the top 5. And the guys on the outside looking in are Gillen, Keselowski, Suarez, and Yaley. J.J. Yaley about to go a lap down in this heat race already as we're only 20 laps in. And we've got a caution. It looks like Keselowski has been dumped by Daniel Suarez with 6 laps to go in the heat. Very similar to the end of heat race number 2 with about 5 to go, when Kevin Harvick had spun the 2 of Cindric out, and then Harvick was able to eventually get his way in on the restart. Suarez is going to try to do the same thing here. Just absolutely sent Brad Keselowski around. Keselowski was able to keep it off the outside wall. Keselowski now to the tail. This is not good for drivers like Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell, who are 4th and 5th. Because we saw Stenhouse in the top 5 in the same situation in Heat Race 2, and then he ended up getting bumped out on the final lap. They were over a half a lap behind the race leaders. But they were only a couple positions out of being in the top 5, which will advance yourself into the main event through the heats. Denny Hamlin will elect the inside lane here. Bell going to go back to the outside. That costed him the first time. In row 1, fell back to 5th, and now he'll be in row 2, which is maybe a little worse of a position to be in this situation. Ryan Blaney will end up lining up on the inside of row 3. One thing Kevin Harvick did also was restart behind the 9 of Chase Elliott on the inside rather than on the outside of row 3. And it doesn't look like Daniel Suarez or Brad Keselowski are going to be trying to do that. May hurt them on this initial restart. Again, 6 laps to go in the heat. Six laps, green flag back in the air. Hamlin gets the launch on the bottom. A pretty good one at that. Briscoe on the outside of the front row. He's going to want to fight for the bottom as quickly as he can. Reddick on the bottom, right behind the 11 of Hamlin. Not going to let the 14 in line. Bell still stuck on the outside of Ryan Blaney. Blaney gets a shot from behind by former rookie Todd Gilliland. Still side-by-side for position between the 2nd and 3rd place cars as well as the 4th and 5th place cars. Keselowski and Suarez side-by-side again for position for 7th place. Gilliland all over the back of the 20 of Bell. Bell will get pushed to the inside of Ryan Blaney now. Blaney on the outside in 4th place after starting last in the heat. Having a strong start to move up to 4th is now battling for the last transfer spot. The 38 going to push the 20 by the 12, and now the 38's on the inside. Blaney quickly gets down to the bottom. 2 more laps to try to get by Gilliland, and Bell gets turned off the front bumper of Todd Gilliland's race car with 3 to go in the stage. And the caution flag's out again, and Bell will have to go to the back. Gonna have to take a look at the replay. He definitely had contact from Gilliland, but did Blaney get into the 38 before the 38 got into the 20, I think is the question. Bell goes around. That brings out a caution. Gilliland definitely pushed the 20 into the 4th place position initially. Blaney gets into the 38, which in return the 38 gets into the 20, so that's exactly what happened. Wasn't much of the 38 car's fault. That was more on Ryan Blaney, who slammed the 38 into the 20 of Bell. Sent him around. Hard shot, too, that Blaney gave Todd Gilliland, and a tough break for Christopher Bell, because now he's going to be in last place with 3 laps to go in the restart after starting in first 22 laps ago. Unbelievable. And again, Bell was the odds-on favorite to win this race according to Vegas Sportsbooks. 7.5 to 1. Again, caution laps do not count, so lap 3 to go on the restart. No overtime here. Hamlin elects the inside lane on the restart. I'm surprised Bell's going to the outside again. J.J. Yaley up to 7th. Blaney going to be on the outside lane in row 2. Hamlin and Reddick. Actually, it looks like Hamlin and Briscoe will be on the front row. Briscoe on the outside of row 1. Martin Truex Jr. won the first heat. His teammate Denny Hamlin is leading this heat, but then their other teammate Christopher Bell has struggled mightily in this third heat race after starting first. So all over the place are the JGR Toyotas, and we're still waiting on Ty Gibbs to try to start the rear of the field in our fourth heat race, which will be up next. And Denny Hamlin leads the field to the green. Down into 1 and 2 they go. Bottom lane opened up. The 14 washed a bit wide. Hamlin clear for the lead. Bell mows the wall down off the exit of turn 2. Suarez to the inside of him. Gilliland up the track into the side of Ryan Blaney. Almost up into the outside wall. They both kept it off the wall. And they continue to run side by side for 4th place. 2 laps to go, lap and a half now. Suarez trying to get back in after running outside of the top 5 the whole race. Blaney sends the 38 of Gilliland, and now Gilliland's back in the final transfer spot, final lap. Chastain, or sorry, I should say Suarez in the same color Chastain ran for most of last year. Trying to get by the 38 of Gilliland. Bell is right behind both of them. 38 locks the brakes up, nearly gets into the outside wall, and Daniel Suarez will get the final transfer spot over Gilliland. Bell just on the outside at 6th looking in. Denny Hamlin will go on to win heat race number 3. Chase Briscoe 2nd. Tyler Reddick 3rd. Ryan Blaney 4th. And 5th place on the final lap will be Daniel Suarez, who was out for most of it and then gets in on the final lap. So the heat race winners so far through the first 3 heats: Eric Almirola, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin. All older veterans in the NASCAR Cup Series. I just realized they didn't interview Martin Truex Jr. after he won the second heat. They interviewed Chase Elliott and Ricky Stenhouse instead. Got in that last lap altercation in the second heat, which allowed Kevin Harvick to get in. Currently at 30 likes on the stream. Our goal is 100. This is, out of technicality, our first live commentary live stream of the 2023 NASCAR season. We'll be back at it again later tonight for the main event. That will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. William Byron's your pick to win Heat 4. It's a good pick. He ran pretty well in last year's Clash. Won a Martinsville race last year as well. In the spring. Got some aggressive drivers in this heat race too. Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, AJ Allmendinger. Ty Gibbs. I thought the first heat race, by way of lineup and the starting lineup, were going to have the most aggressive drivers, and I think I might stand corrected in now rethinking my decision that this fourth race might have the most aggressive drivers. But will it be the most aggressive heat race is the question that will have to be answered, because we've seen a lot of aggression in these first 3 heat races, so it'll take quite a bit to top it. We still have 2 50-lap LCQs coming up on this stream after these heats. Starting lineup for heat race number 4 looks like this. You got William Byron on the pole, AJ Allmendinger on the outside of the front row in second. Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace will line up in row 2. Row 3 will be Eric Jones and Ryan Preece. Preece making his first start in the 41 at SHR in place of Cole Custer, who was in that car the last few seasons. Corey LaJoie and Cody Ware will be in row 4, and then Ty Gibbs will start at the rear of the field. He did not make a qualifying lap yesterday. His car caught fire in the cockpit in yesterday's practice session. Easy Network, thanks for tuning in. Going to be a wild LCQ. Have some fast cars and drivers in those races. That is very true. Some drivers not only that were in this race last year, but some playoff drivers that were in the playoffs last season will be in the LCQs. We still have one more heat yet. Once this heat is complete, we'll have 20 drivers locked into the main event later today, and we'll still have 6 spots that have to get taken up here. Head for the mountains of the Busch beer. They were playing that commercial for those of you wondering. I don't have that song ringing in my head on a daily basis. Daytona 500 coming up in a couple of weeks. Plan is for me to be there all speed weeks long. Be giving you guys some race highlight videos from the grandstands for every race I go to in person once again this year. And it will start throughout speed week at Daytona with the dual races Thursday, truck race on Friday, Xfinity race Saturday, Cup race on Sunday. Our next live race commentary wouldn't be until the Xfinity Series race at Auto Club after today's racing is over. Again, Xfinity, Truck, and Cup races will all be commentating on the channel this year for the races at least that I don't go to in person. It's interesting that we saw Christopher Bell elect the outside lane on the start of the last heat. He's the only driver to not elect the inside that has been the control car on a restart. That did not work out for him, and he ended up barely missing out. Two of the Championship 4 drivers will not be in the main event through the heats, and we still have the fourth of which, Ross Chastain, yet to race in this heat, as he starts inside of row 2 and 3rd. Pace car is on pit road, or at least in the infield. Not really any live pit stops today. The shorter race, the shorter track. William Byron leads the field to the green. We're underway for the 4th and final heat race of the night. And Byron will easily be able to clear Allmendinger on the outside lane off the exit of turn 2 on the opening lap. Ross Chastain to the inside of the 16. Not as much with the bumper cars, at least through the first lap of this final heat race. Chastain out to the inside of his former colleague teammate back in the Xfinity Series a few years ago, and he'll pass him and clear him off the exit of turn 2 for second. Bubba Wallace, who started in 4th on the outside, still on the outside. 43 gets a bump from behind, though, by the 7 of LaJoy. Almost allowed for Wallace to clear, but not quite. Jones not giving the 23 a lot of room there. There's some contact, and also Jones in the 43 getting pushed from behind. And Corey LaJoy nearly taking it 3 wide on the front straightaway that time. Off the exit of turn 4 was LaJoy. 43 has not given the 23 a lot of room in the middle of the corner. Forces him up out of the gas, and now Wallace will finally get past. 7 of LaJoy noses his way down in there. And Ryan Preece, who made this show last year, is trying to make it once again as he is battling for position right now with Corey LaJoy. It's a battle for 6th place. Bubba Wallace right in front of him, the 41. Side by side, forces his way by the 7 of LaJoy. Ty Gibbs right behind those two. Byron with a 9/10 of a second lead already built up over Ross Chastain between positions 1 and 2. Wallace in 5th, and the final transfer spot is about 3 seconds off the lead, but he's already a half a second ahead of Ryan Preece in 6th. Kyle Busch up in the booth for this heat. They had Joey Logano in the booth in the last heat. Those two drivers were in the first and second heat races of the night. And they're already locked into the main event, so they get a little bit of a break time before their race at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time later tonight. 1 second lead now for William Byron as we're almost halfway through this stage. About 16 laps to go. A little shy of halfway in this fourth heat. Probably the most tame one so far, but that could obviously change in these final 16 laps. Bubba Wallace going to make a pass on Eric Jones for 4th place. That'll bump Jones back to the final transfer spot. Didn't seem like the 41 could keep up with the 23, but can he keep up with the 43, as that's now the car he's trying to catch to get into the main event. Ty Gibbs moving the 7 of LaJoie up the track, but couldn't actually stay to the inside off the X of the corner. Now he'll dive bomb back to the bottom again in 3 and 4. These guys are a full second behind where Jones and Preece are on the racetrack, and depending on how long it takes Ryan Preece to get by the 43, there may be a chance for Gibbs to catch up. Contact between the 41 and the 43 that time as they're side-by-side for position, 12 to go in Heat 4. Ty Gibbs is now about 1.3 seconds back. He is in third, but I think LaJoie might still be battling the 54 car of Gibbs. Preece is finally going to clear Eric Jones. Allmendinger now moving backwards as he gets passed by Bubba Wallace for third. And Wallace on the attack, quickly catching Ross Chastain. And William Byron absolutely pulling away right now from the pole in this heat. Every driver who has started on the pole in a heat race today has not won unless William Byron can win this heat. And in case of the last heat race, Christopher Bell, who started on the pole, didn't even make it into the main event through the heat races. He's got to go to the LCQ. Bubba Wallace trying to get by Ross Chastain for second. He's going to try to pass him cleanly, I would have to think. Probably not going to beat down too badly for that position, unless he gets pressure from behind if the 16, 41, and 43 start to close again. Ty Gibbs starting to lose a little bit of ground, though, to the 4th through 6th place race cars. He's about a second and a half back. Not a lot of beating and banging going on between those drivers. 41-16 slowly pull away from Eric Jones. They were a little bit quicker that last lap. It does seem like Preece is quicker than the 16 of Allmendinger as he gets to the inside of him. Contact heavily that time, and Eric Jones closes the gap. Still side by side between the 41 and 16. Preece on the bottom. Allmendinger on the outside. Now the 43 shoves the 41 into the 16. Through turns 1 and 2. Allmendinger holding on strong on the outside for a little bit. Now 4 laps to go in this final heat. Top 5 advance to the main event. Allmendinger will get cleared and trying to move to the bottom as quickly as he can right in front of the 43 and does. Preece is up to 4th. Allmendinger in the final transfer spot. He started outside of the front row at second in this heat. Ty Gibbs is finally starting to close in on the 43 and the 16. 2.5 laps left for the 43 and the 54 to get by Allmendinger to move themselves into the main event. Three more corners to go. Allmendinger gets bumped from the 43 of Eric Jones. Ty Gibbs has closed in quite a bit. He pushes the 43 into the 16, but Gibbs loses the front of his race car just a bit and falls a bit behind. Contact now between Eric Jones and A.J. Allmendinger. Allmendinger moved out of the groove. Jones is into the final transfer spot. Gibbs is going to charge hard into turns 3 and 4, trying to move the 43 out of the way, and it's not going to be enough as Eric Jones will advance through the final transfer spot. On Ty Gibbs and A.J. Allmendinger, and William Byron will lead every one of the 25 laps in heat race number 4. He'll be starting in the 4th place position later tonight. Byron will win heat race number 4. Bubba Wallace 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd, Ryan Preece 4th, and Eric Jones will round out the top 5. So we have 20 cars locked into the main event now. Sounds like they have Kyle Busch and Joey Logano in the booth, actually, for this heat race. They had Logano in for heat 3. Now they got Logano and Busch in for heat 4. William did yard, everybody. That would be correct. If we know anything about LCQs and last chance races in both the All-Star race and even in the Clash last year, it was epic. Epically chaotic. Pure chaos is probably the best definition for what we saw in last year's LCQ and the Busch Clash It'll be interesting to see, though, this year exactly how it'll go about. Got a lot of fast cars that are going to have to race their way in. Top 3 from each LCQ will advance into the main event. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there only one LCQ last year? I think there was only one LCQ because they expanded the field this year, so that brings a second LCQ. That was the only caution-free heat race that we had as well. All 25 laps, not only dominated by William Byron, but they were all ran under green. Well, granted, every lap has been ran under green all the heats, but we didn't have any cautions for incident that caused any sort of stoppage in this race. We were a little less than 2 hours away from the kickstart of the actual Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, 2 LCQs be coming your way. Top Crew coming in a little. I don't know about that necessarily. Yeah, you don't want to be on the outside. I think just as the grip level throughout the, not the grip level so much, but as the air pressure builds up, I think that's helping the cars stay on the outside a little bit better on the longer runs. Truex strong in heat 1. Track gaining good bit of grip. Yeah, Truex definitely, him and Byron look like the 2 fastest cars today. It's tough to tell exactly who's faster until we go and see them head to head in the main event, but I think the favorites right now have to be Truex and Byron just based off of raw speed alone. Give you guys a starting lineup to the LCQs once it becomes available on our screen here. Our actual raw feed with all the timing and data not available yet. We were having issues with this towards the end of last season for whatever reason. NASCAR has updated their website from last year to this year, but obviously they have not fixed the raw feed issue that they had. And I wonder if it might be because it's just the heat races, but it was working fine for the heat races last year, as well as the open races for the All-Star race weekend in Texas. Truex maybe for the main event. Maybe. Not sure how long of a break there's going to be between these LCQs. Might be a little bit of a break, I should say, between the final heat that just concluded a few minutes ago and then the LCQ. Again, the top 3 in both LCQs will advance. Both LCQs are 50 laps. Caution laps do not count once again. Michael McDowell will be on the pole for this first LCQ race. Will be McDowell and Bell on the front row. Harrison Burton, Todd Gillen in row number 2. Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski in row 3. And then Chris Busch or J.J. Yaley will be in row 4. No cars are out of the racing action today. Through the heat races, nobody crashed out. We did see some cautions with some spins, but everybody's still able to compete here, at least to start the LCQs. Joey Logano technically would have gotten the provisional spot. See, that's what doesn't make any sense to me on who gets the provisional. Is there just no provisional? Is it just a 26-car field then? Because Logano raced his way in through the heat? Like, they're not explaining that too well. Honestly, don't understand. I would have thought that because Logano got in to the top 5, then that would have meant like McDowell would have transferred. Even though he finished 6th in the heat behind Logano. It's not the case, though. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch in the booth together now. Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch all in the same booth. A lot of hotheads. Yeah, I'm confused about the provisional spot too, Dark Crypto, honestly. So again, 250-lap LCQ races. Cars are on the track right now getting ready for this LCQ. The first one. Michael McDowell elects the inside lane for the start here. Christopher Bell will have to line up on the outside, though this time he doesn't choose the outside like he did back on the few restarts that we ended up having in heat race number 3, which is the one he raced in. So these are the drivers from heat races number 1 and 3 that'll be in this LCQ. Then the heat race drivers that failed to advance into the main event in heat races 2 and 4 will be in the second LCQ. 8 cars, 3 advance in both heats. Michael McDowell about to lead the field to the green here. And the green flag is in the air. Again, 50 laps in this heat. Caution laps do not count. Michael McDowell initially off the start going to easily get to the race lead. A lot of contact behind them, though, in a battle for second between Harrison Burton and Christopher Bell. Both cars who got spun in their respective heat races. Bell going to want to get to the bottom as soon as he possibly can. That caused him a couple different occasions in that heat race he was in. And now that they have been side by side long enough, it does look like the 38 of Gillen has closed in on the 21 of Harrison Burton. Bell almost had the 21 clear, but then he might have slid the front tires a little bit going into turn 3. It allows Burton to get back to the inside. Now he slides the rear tires, trying to pick the throttle back up off the exit of turn number 2. And Todd Gillen underneath Bell, who was in the championship 4 last year, had a few wins. Joe Gibbs Racing continues to go backwards. The 77 car of Ty Dillon is now under him. Bell gets forced into the outside wall by Dillon in the middle of the back straightaway. Keselowski getting by Bell. And again, these laps go by quickly. It might be 50 laps, but on a quarter-mile short track, it is going to fly by. This race is only going to be about 10 minutes of elapsed time. So you've got to get going quickly here. And Christopher Bell has fallen back in a hurry, still on the outside of Keselowski. Both the RFK cars of Keselowski and Busch are in this LCQ and on the outside looking in by a few positions. Christopher Bell is able to finally get clear of the 6, but he is able to do it by passing him, not so much by falling in line behind him. One Ford, Harrison Burton starting to run down another Ford at the beginning of the pack right now, Michael McDowell. And in fact, the top 3 cars are all Fords in this LCQ. Actually, most of the cars in this LCQ are Fords because you got Keselowski and Busch on the outside too. And the Rick Ware car of J.J. Yaley is also a Ford. 6 of the 8 cars in this LCQ are Fords, and then you have 1 Toyota and 1 Chevy. All these drivers will start in the odd numbers 21st through 26th. Oh, I see. Okay, so the provisional, I understand now. The provisional will fall to the next highest points finisher. So Logano was already locked in because he was the champion. But out of technicality, Christopher Bell's the next highest in points. So if Bell cannot race his way into the top 3, he'll get the provisional. He finished ahead of Chase Elliott in that championship 4 race last year, and therefore finished ahead of him in points. Elliott was the last of those 4. So that is how the provisional is awarded. So although Christopher Bell was falling back in a hurry right now, if he does not get back in the top 3, he will get the provisional. He is up to 4th place, so he's able to pass Ty Dillon about a lap and a half ago. Harrison Burton is still closing in on the 34 of Michael McDowell. Couldn't quite get to his bumper that time off the exit of turn 4, but he's right in line behind him. Top 3 within 1 second of each other. The top 2 within about 0.3 of a second of each other. Michael McDowell, Harrison Burton still 1-2. It looks like Todd Gilliland is starting to close, though, on the 21 of Burton. And I think it's because the 34 of McDowell might not be as fast as the cars that are behind him, and he's starting to stack everybody up. Burton does get into the back of the 34, now realizing he's got to get going. His cars are starting to get bigger in his rearview mirror as well. Couldn't get back into him in 3 and 4, though, as McDowell was able to pull him just a tad. It's getting very interesting. About halfway home, nearly. 20 laps down, 30 laps still to go in this first LCQ. Caution-free thus far in this race. The only heat race that went caution-free was the 4th. But things are going to get very, very intense here in the closing laps. Again, every driver in the top 3 advances. There's a provisional to the highest points finisher who does not make it, virtue of racing their way in. If Christopher Bell gets into the top 3, then Chase Elliott will then have the provisional going into the second LCQ. So if you're a Chase Elliott fan, you would be rooting for Christopher Bell to get inside the top 3 in this LCQ. Bell to the inside of Gilliland for that 3rd place position. Got to get around him cleanly, and I think the 38 initially just let him go to drop in line behind him. And Ty Dillon closing in now in the 38. And runs hard into the back of Gilliland, shot him up the racetrack, and Ty Dillon's up to 4th. Remember how aggressive Ty Dillon was in that 42 car in the Clash last year to try to get in. He was absolutely destroying cars left after right, bringing out a lot of cautions in an LCQ race. Trying to race his way in last year, and this year might have to do the same thing to get inside the top 3. He definitely would not be in the provisional with Bell in the top 3, so he's going to have to get in the top 3 himself. Bell very fortunate that he didn't get ran into from behind by the 38, who got shoved way up the track by the 77. Now the 38 trying to repay the favor on Dillon in the 77 car. And the more these guys beat and bang, the more the top 3 are going to start to pull away. That's going to be less of a chance that they're going to have of trying to race their way up there. J.J. Yaley's going to end up going a lap down here in a few laps, which will be interesting as well, how they will catch him. .21 laps to go in LCQ number 1. Michael McDowell's led every lap, so they cut the commercial right in the middle. Why would you cut the commercial with 20 laps to go in an LCQ? These laps only take like 13 seconds. That was terrible. I didn't think we were going to get any commercials during the green flag action in the heats or the LCQ today. Got a word from Dodge Ram, though, first and foremost. Unbelievable. There we go. Our raw feed's working again, so that's good. It's about time it's working. James Sykes, 6 for tuning in. They're still under green. Come on, they need to get back to... Oh my gosh. This is not right. There's just commercial after commercial with less than 15 laps to go in the LCQ right now. On a quarter-mile short track. Looks like J.J. Yaley did get lapped. The gap right now between Christopher Bell and Todd Gilliland's about 0.3 of a second. So Gilliland is closing back in on Bell. I mean, this is ridiculous. There is like less than 10 laps to go, and they're still on commercial right now. Come on, Fox. The sad part is it's a NASCAR advertisement that's going on right now. They're advertising the Chicago street race. And now when they come back, they have to give a Credit One ad instead of cutting to the live leaderboard. This is ridiculous. There we go. They are back with 11 laps to go. Make that 10. 10 laps to go. They took 10 minutes of 10 laps of commercial with 20 laps to go in an LCQ. Well, we are back though. 10 laps to go right now. Got our leaderboard on our screen. Might be a little bit ahead. Todd Gilliland putting the bumper to Christopher Bell, trying to move him up out of the way. Gilliland not going to be in a position to get the provisional, so he needs to get inside the top 3 in order to bump Bell out. Harrison Burton just slides the rear tires as he goes into turns 1 and 2, and he's going to lose both second and third place. Oh, tough break for Harrison Burton as he overdrives the corner. Christopher Bell and Todd Gilliland are going to get around it. Harrison Burton locked up the rear tires. Or locked up, I guess, the front tires, and the rear tires slid out from underneath him. He did a great job keeping it off the wall. But he has burnt up those rear tires a little bit. He is now losing the 20 and the 38 cars who are now in front of him. Ty Dillon and Brad Keselowski have fallen way back since the commercial break as well. Down to 5 laps to go. Michael McDowell has led every lap in this LCQ and has about a 1.7 second lead over Bell, who is in second. McDowell started on the pole in this LCQ as well. No pressure right now for Todd Gilliland and Christopher Bell. Burton is losing time, so unless we get a late caution here, that's going to cost anybody a chance of getting into the LCQ that isn't already in the top 3. Michael McDowell maintaining that 1.7 second lead over Bell. Not pulling away, but not letting the 20 reel him in either. 2 laps to go in this first LCQ. White flag, 1 lap to go now for McDowell. A dominating LCQ for Michael McDowell after finishing 6th in his heat race number 1. Allowed him to start on the pole for this one and took advantage of it. Checkered flag in the air. First LCQ in the books. And 3 more drivers are advanced into tonight's main event. Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, and Todd Gilliland will be first through third. We'll have one more 50-lap LCQ. So McDowell will be starting 21st. Christopher Bell will start 23rd. And Gilliland will start 25th at tonight's main event. So again, one more LCQ, 50 laps, and then that will wrap up our stream, and then we'll be back again with another stream later at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the main event. Got 38 likes on the stream right now. Let's try to get that to 50 before the end of this stream. So with Bell racing his way in, going into the start of this LCQ, that means Chase Elliott is going to have the provisional. So even though Chase Elliott is in this LCQ race, he will have the provisional. It's the highest points finisher in 2022. But if he gets into the top 3, then the provisional would maybe go to Cindric. Cindric made the playoffs last year. He's the only other playoff driver in this. I'll look up the point standings from last season, actually. Give me a better idea. Let's go. '22 NASCAR standings. Yeah, so Cindric finished 12th. I think Chris Buescher. If Chase Elliott races weight, if Chase Elliott and Austin Cindric can get into the top 3 before the end of this LCQ, then Chris Buescher will advance. He was in the first LCQ race. He finished 21st in points last year, so he would be the highest driver remaining. And Harrison Burton, tough break for Burton. Overdrove the corner. He was in second with a couple laps left. Failed to make it. Here's Michael McDowell, Jamie Little.
In a race today, what kind of statement does that make for your team looking forward to the feature?
I think it showed how bad of a job I did in qualifying, Jamie. We had a really fast freight auction Ford Mustang yesterday in practice. Thought we'd be pretty good. Just didn't get going quite quick enough in that heat race. I think we're probably just a little bit low on pressures there, but right there, guys made a good adjustments. Travis Peterson, everybody. Happy to get both front row cars in. Thanks to all our partners, Freight Auction, Let's Travel Stop Speed Co. It's not the win we wanted, but we'll take it and hopefully get the next checker flag.
All right, Michael McDowell wins LCQ number 1, Mike.
Michael Rosati, thanks for tuning in. Welcome in from Philly. Hopefully your Eagles win the Super Bowl next week. Well, I say hopefully for your sake. I couldn't care less. Michael Waltrip standing with Eric Almirola. We'll probably get an interview after the commercial break. They cut the commercial. Waltrip was standing with them like he was about to interview him on the spot. Yeah, I would have to agree there. Easy Network. I would probably lean towards Ty Gibbs having the faster car entering this race. Him and Elliott. After that, though, it's pretty tough to call between Stenhouse, Allmendinger, and Cindric. Even LaJoie. Because all those guys are kind of free-falling towards the end of their heats. I'd probably say the 47 was free-falling the worst. Or, sorry, the lack thereof. Maybe not as bad as the 16 and the 2 in their heats. It's crazy how good of a car, though, that Justin Haley has, and A.J. Allmendinger's really lacking. But Haley was pretty good last year. He won his heat. Ran top 5 the whole race until getting wrecked by Larson. In the main event. With him qualifying on the pole today, that's why I put money on him to win. I think coming into the heat races, before we saw any on-track activity today, I would have put, well, I did put my money on Kyle Busch and Justin Haley. I wish I would have put my money on Haley earlier because it was at 20-1 odds, but then it was at 15-1 when I did it like an hour before the stream started, so should have hopped on that right away this morning. I mean, it's not going to matter if Haley doesn't win, but it's going to cost me like a couple $100 more if he were to win. Yep, top 3 finishers from this LCQ will advance, and then of the drivers who have not advanced through both LCQs tonight, the highest points finisher. So the highest points finisher that did not advance from LCQ number 1 would have been Chris Buescher, who finished outside the top 3, but he finished 21st in points last year. So if Chase Elliott and Austin Cindric get into the top 3, then Chris Buescher will get the provisional, the points provisional. And he'll be starting last of the 27 cars at tonight's main event. Starting lineup in heat race number 2 looks like this. You got Chase Elliott and Ty Gibbs in row 1. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., AJ Allmendinger in row 2. Austin Cindric, Corey LaJoie in row 3. Then you got BJ McLeod and Cody Ware bringing up the rear of this 8-car field in row 4. Another 50 laps. The last LCQ went caution-free, and the first heat race, the fourth and final heat race went caution-free as well. Yeah, I think Haley definitely has this track down. I would have to put the over at 1 ad break. Half an ad break, I'd probably hammer the over. In LCQ number 2. I mean, we had one in LCQ number 1, so they couldn't even go side by side. That was the sad part about it. Green flag is in the air. Chase Elliott gets the launch off the start quickly, clears the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Gibbs gets down to the bottom right in front of Stenhouse, who moves him up the racetrack, trying to get by him for position, but Gibbs holds on to second. Cody Ware is going to move up in front of Austin Cindric into 5th. He gets into the back of Ricky Stenhouse, which causes a log jam 3 wide between Ware, Cindric, and LaJoie back there. Ty Gibbs crisscrossing with AJ Allmendinger. These two raced full-time in the Xfinity Series last year for points, now racing full-time in the Cup Series for points. Gibbs a rookie in the Cup Series, but does have experience in a Cup car after filling in for the injured Kurt Busch for most of the end of last season. And Allmendinger made some off starts as well, and in fact, it wasn't in a next-gen car, but he did have a Cup win for Colleague Racing in that 16 car in 2021 at the Indianapolis Road Course. Chase Elliott already out to a 1.2 second lead. Allmendinger in second, and Ty Gibbs runs in third. Stenhouse is on the outside looking in right now, and Austin Cindric, who has fallen back to 7th off the start, may want to think about just keeping his car clean, because as long as Chase Elliott stays in the top 3, Cindric will get the provisional. If you're a fan of Chris Buescher, you have to be rooting for Austin Cindric to race his way in, because that is the only way Chris Buescher will get in, will be with the provisional at this point. Colton Thompson, thanks for tuning in also. So Ty Gibbs has moved back into second place around AJ Allmendinger that last lap, maybe 2 laps ago now, but Gibbs is up to P2. Allmendinger now in the final transfer spot. Stenhouse is closing in on the 16. We saw how aggressive Stenhouse was in his heat race, where he tried to move Elliott out of the way on the final lap after Elliott got by him in 1 and 2, costed both Elliott and Stenhouse a chance to race their way in through the heats, which lead them into this second LCQ race tonight. Stenhouse does not have any chance at a provisional, so he needs to get inside the top 3. Cindric has made a pass on Cody Ware in recent laps for 6, but again, Cindric will have the provisional, assuming Elliott remains in the top 3. I gotta say, I do like that Napa paint scheme, by the way, for Chase Elliott this season. Slightly different from what we've seen in years past, or at least last year with the first year of the next-gen car. It's a slight upgrade, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in my eyes. It does seem like Ty Gibbs and A.J. Allmendinger are slowly running down Chase Elliott as the course of this long run continues. Cindric has to be praying for Chase Elliott to not fall outside of the top 3. So that will cost him mightily in trying to get into this main event unless he can get back in the top 3. But the gap between Cindric and third of Allmendinger right now is about 3 seconds. Cindric is battling Corey LaJoie for 5th. And again, we did not have a caution in LCQ number 1 or in the last heat race, so things have maybe calmed down at least a little bit over the last couple of races we have seen this evening. 1 through 3, all within 1 second of each other right now. So we have about 20 laps in, 30 laps still to go. Ty Gibbs now within about a half a car length to a full car length behind race leader Chase Elliott. Stenhouse is slowly losing Allmendinger as Allmendinger has caught, or is catching, Ty Gibbs. Continues to battle with Chase Elliott. BJ McLeod and Cody Ware will likely go a lap down before the end of this race if we do stay green. That'll be interesting also. Cindric trying to move the 7 of LaJoie out of the way. He gets to the inside as they battle side by side for 5th. Cindric was not able to race his way in. But him making the playoffs and finishing 12th in points last year may be the reason why he could get into the through the LCQ this year in the LA Clash at the Coliseum. Still about 27 to go. Does seem like Chase Elliott is sliding the rear tires a little bit more off the exit of the corner when he's trying to pick the throttle up versus the 2 cars of Gibbs and Allmendinger behind him. They will catch BJ McLeod into turns 3 and 4. McLeod staying high. He'll let the lead lap cars get by him on the inside easily. Allmendinger will clear the 78 as well. Still about a 1.8 second gap between Allmendinger and Stenhouse. NASCAR Cup Series 2311 Racing, thanks for tuning in. Halfway now through LCQ number 2. 25 laps down, another 25 still to go. Ty Gibbs has been sitting right behind Chase Elliott for a little bit now, but can't get enough pressure on him to at least put the bumper to him and try to get the win in this LCQ. Gibbs maybe trying to race a little smart, though. I'm sure his crew chief and spotter are well aware of the fact that they are pulling Stenhouse still. So the chance of Gibbs falling outside of the top 3 is going to be slim to none without a caution flag or a major error by both himself or somebody directly in front of him. Cody Ware going to go lap down another lap or 2 next. We just saw BJ McLeod go lap down. Ty Gibbs really trying to widen his arc off quite a bit more than Chase Elliott through the corners. 2 drivers of NASCAR's future battling for the win in this LCQ. And now Elliott's stuck behind the lap car of Cody Ware. Ware is not moving out of the way either. He wants to stay on the lead lap in case... I mean, if we get a caution, he's going to get the free pass anyway, so we might as well just let these guys go. He's well ahead of BJ McLeod. And I don't think these leaders are going to catch Corey LaJoie, who is the next to last car on the racetrack and the last car in the lead lap now. Gibbs and Elliott finally get by. Allmendinger's starting to lose the 9 and the 54. Probably needs them to battle a little bit more. But still holds himself 2 seconds ahead of Stenhouse in 4th. Down to 17 laps to go in LCQ number 2. Thank goodness there's no commercial this time. I think Fox heard me. Heard me on this live stream. What? They have Gwen Stefani in the booth of a NASCAR sanctioned race. Never in a million years would I have thought this combination would have gone together. Gwen taking shots at Clint Boyer as soon as she got into the booth there. It's actually pretty funny. Brandon Martinez, thanks for tuning in also. Pretty anticlimactic LCQ number 2 so far. Ty Gibbs has 11 more laps to try to get by Chase Elliott to win the LCQ, but both in great position to make it through the top 3. And he had Chase Elliott being the leader right now. As long as he finishes in the top 3, Austin Cindric will be able to race his way in virtue of, or I should say, be able to get into the main event virtue of the provisional. Gibbs took a look to the inside with the lap car of BJ McLeod now going a second lap down. I thought Gibbs was going to try to use the lap car as a pick to get by Elliott, but Elliott barely holds on to the lead. Eight laps to go at LCQ number 2. It's down to about a 1.6 second difference between Allmendinger and Stenhouse. Stenhouse, so now trying to get by BJ McLeod and does. I don't think Stenhouse has enough laps despite being a little bit quicker than the 6T car the last few laps to try to catch him. But if he gets a chance, you can bet he's going to send it. He already tried to do that once tonight in heat race number 2. Gibbs slides the rear tires a little more off the exit of turn 4, trying to pick the gas back up. Then Chase Elliott lost a little bit of ground to him. Chase Elliott a lot more steady as the lead car right now. Gibbs continues to put the pressure. Be interesting how aggressive Gibbs is going to be just to try to win an LCQ, even though both drivers will advance to the main event the way it looks right now. Got 4 laps to go. Make that 3 to go. Gibbs looking low under Elliott, side by side for the race lead once again. And this time Gibbs will hold to the inside of him. How cleanly will they battle? Elliott trying to hold on strong. Final lap now. Side by side for the lead in LCQ number 2. Gibbs on the bottom. Elliott up high. The rumble strips might have costed the 54 on the bottom that time. Into 3 and 4. As they come to the line, it is going to be Chase Elliott by about a half a car length to win LCQ number 2. Ty Gibbs second. And AJ Allmendinger will round out the top 3. They'll all race each other in. I should say race their way in to the main event here tonight through the LCQ. And Austin Cindric will get the provisional based off of last year's point standings. He is the highest finishing points standings. I should say he was finisher. I don't know how to word this. Excuse me. He is the highest finisher in the points of 2022 that did not race their way in through either the heat races or the LCQs tonight. So that is why he gets the provisional. He finished 12th in points last year. The only playoff driver that did not actually race his way in. So Cindric will get the provisional. Local car guy, thanks for tuning in. Is Ty Gibbs running a backup? No, I don't believe he is. There was no backups this weekend. I don't think any of the teams brought backup cars. So I believe it's the same car that actually caught fire yesterday. I'm sure they tried to get rid of that smoke smell as best as they possibly could overnight. Another 15 minutes to... No, we got an hour, 15 minutes, actually. Yeah, main event will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time later tonight. Still talking to Gwen Stefani right now. Waiting to see if we get any other interviews. And once we get a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race, we'll go through that and then we'll end this stream. And we'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a second stream later tonight for the actual Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum, now that the heat races and the LCQs are complete. Chase Elliott led all 50 laps in that LCQ. Both LCQs went caution-free today. All the action seemed to have taken place in the heat races. Good finish, though, and a battle for a pretty much pointless win, I guess, technically, between Elliott and Gibbs, but a good battle nonetheless, a clean one. So Elliott will be starting 22nd, Ty Gibbs 24th, and AJ Allmendinger will start 26th, I guess. And again, later, or further behind them, I guess, would be Austin Cindric. He'll start 27th. Here's Michael Waltrip talking with Eric Almirola, Ryan Priest, and Chase Briscoe.
Wheel, and then coming up here and seeing all the action that was going on behind you.
It looks just as tight up here as it does down there. And you can see why they play bumper cars. It's a tight, short, little quarter-mile racetrack, and these stock cars put on a heck of a show here. So this is awesome to be here. And a year ago, I had to unfortunately watch up here, and tonight I get to lead the field to the green. So should be a fun night.
That's pretty awesome. Chase Briscoe, you made it through. What did you think about the view from up above, and how do you feel about your chances to win this race?
Yeah, this view's awesome. I was telling Ryan on the way up here, I was asking him if he'd been up here before, and he was like, man, I see what you're saying. This view is pretty awesome. But yeah, I thought our car, I could have been definitely better, but, I think our car was really good on the long run. We're finally going to get into some longer runs, hopefully, in this main race. So, yeah, I feel good about it. Our main track score, like I said, it's okay. It needs to be a little bit better, but, yeah, we're in the show, and that's all that matters right now.
Ryan Priest, you know any Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah, black and yellow.
Black and yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Chase told us that one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight. Quarter mile racing is really what I come from, and the pressure's off. We made the race, and yeah, just keep tuning on the car, making it better, and hopefully we can get up there and race with Eric and Chase and Kevin.
That's awesome. What an event. This is a great feeling. We're having a lot of fun. Regan Smith, who have you caught up with, buddy?
Regan Smith now talking with Chase Elliott.
Had the option to potentially sit that last chance qualifier race out, decided to go ahead and run it. Extra 50 laps of practice. Did you learn what you needed to?
Yeah, I hope so. At least I would have rather not been in that for sure. But our Napa Chevy's been okay. I feel like we definitely need to be better, and obviously we're buried for the future. So. Yeah, those were two. The first one was a lot more wild than the second one. Appreciate Ty racing me clean there. Felt like put on a good race there at the end, which was fun, and at least we got in the show the right way. So we'll go to work, try to make our way up through there the best we can tonight, and have a little fun.
Thanks, Jace. Have fun. Jamie?
Well, this 54 team of
Jamie
Ty
Little
Gibbs,
with
they have had their work
Ty
cut out for them on
Gibbs.
fire in practice. The team went to work, fixed it. You had to qualify through the LCQ. Now that you made it to the feature, Ty, what do you think your chances are with this car?
Yeah, I think that we always have a shot to win. I think any team can win at any time. So I feel like we've got a very fast launcher, injury camera, TRD. The LCQ, they were just trying to make it in, not trying to cause any damage or burn my stuff up on Astro. Ryan's just got to go race hard now. Should have never been in an LCQ, but that's part of it, and we'll keep going and work as hard as we can.
All right, keep your eye on this 54. They're fast, and he believes in this team.
So it looks like Fox is headed to another commercial break. As of right now, I'm going to back out of this, see if we can find the starting lineup at all. Maybe. Lisa Rothfield was working for the LCQs, so that means it should work for the main event later. Should. Yeah, this is qualifying yesterday still, so don't actually have it up yet. I don't know how much longer it's going to be before they announce it on the actual race broadcast. So I think we're just going to end the stream then right now as we're getting close to the top of the hour. So a little over an hour away from the start of the main event tonight, we are going to end this stream. We have another stream that's already set up. Be sure to tune in for that one at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we will be watching the LA Clash at the Coliseum. Yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in for this first live commentary live stream of the year. Had a lot of fun watching the heats and the LCQs tonight with you guys, and we got an even bigger show still to come later today. 27 cars on a quarter-mile short track at the LA Coliseum. It'll be fun to watch. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content, and I will see you guys later tonight. Enjoy the next hour, I guess, of the telecast. Enjoy the pre-race concert as well, and I will see you guys in a little bit.